Hey, comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0. And fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer, getting ready to do the countdown, episode number 131. That's right, guys. Now, this is the video series where I take my favorite comics of the week and I count them down from my least favorite all the way to that top spot. Now, at the end of the year, we take all those number one comics, I put them into groups, and you guys vote what you think might be comic of the year. So it's a whole year-long process. And today we have 14 comics to talk about. 13 of those comics are actually in the countdown this week. And let's just jump right into it, shall we? Now, this book is an independent book called Ella Strange. This is my honorable mention for the week, as I went to Tronicon over in Orlando this past week, and they had some independent creators out here. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Josh Dristra. Sorry if I said your name wrong. On creating this book, and this is a book about Ella Strange, who is actually a little bit of a strange character. This first issue, introduction to Ella Strange, introduces who you are, who she is, and what type of personality that she has. And in the beginning of the issue, you see her fighting some different types of creatures, and if you look at the artwork closely, she's drawn maybe just like Princess Peach from Super Mario Brothers. So I thought that was really cool. But you get to see the type of artwork that's presented to you, and again you get to see the character that she is in the book and how people made fun of her. She loves music, and the writer of this book, he loves music too, so I guess he thought he would put some of his passion in music into his comic book character. She also has like lightning bolt powers and whatnot, and again in this book you get to see some of the supporting cast. And by the time you get to the end of it, you wind up seeing that she kind of gets abducted by some weird aliens. So, pretty cool book, and I liked it. Couldn't put it in the actual countdown. It doesn't hold up to the caliber of maybe some of the other comics that are in the countdown, but nevertheless, it was a fun and cute read, and I would be interested in reading more of Ella Strange and seeing the direction of this book. So there you have it, guys. And if you're interested, the website is right here, if you guys can see it. So you can take that down real quick if you want to see all their other sketches that they actually do. So just thought I'd present that to you guys this week. It's very important to promote the independent creators out there, as they're just as important as the mainstream writers. All right, next we go on to number 13, and this was my worst pick of the week, and this continues to be until they probably get out of the story arc, and this is Sinestro issue number 19. I just think they're just like stalling things until maybe until the Green Lantern Corps comes back, or I'm not sure what's going on here, but we see this continued battle with Sinestro in this impaling characters. And there was some good moments in here where he's thinking, for years I've fought the Green Lantern Corps and Hal Jordan, and am I making the same mistakes that he's doing? So there was some good elements and some good inner dialogue there, but when it comes to the rest of the story, for me it was weak. He gives yellow lantern rings to everybody, and it's just not appealing to a reader. I think when you overdo something that's been done so often, it loses that cool appeal, that neatness factor, that, oh wow, that's awesome. I mean, when you sit there and give yellow rings to every single person out there in the universe, it's like, yippee-doo, it's just like, what are you looking for here? You get to see Wonder Woman and Superman, they all have rings. Scarecrow gets his ring back, Deathstroke gets a ring, and it's all to just to stop these impaling characters. And in the end of the book, you wind up finding out that by I guess unleashing more of the Yellow Lantern Corps members, it kind of puts a strain on the impaling. So you can see that that's what Sinestro does in the book. And then what happens is he releases his secret weapon, and you finally get to see Saint Walker on how he kind of rehabilitated him to have his Blue Lantern power, charge the Yellow Lanterns to give them the strength just like he used to with the Green Lantern Corps. And you get to see now that he has the Yellow Corps member on his wrist. And so he powers up all the actual Yellow Lanterns to power levels of 200% to where they can possibly do the battling against the Paling. But unfortunately, the book doesn't end. The story arc doesn't go on. It keeps going on. It doesn't end. I was just like, really? And this artwork in this last page was kind of weak for me. I didn't like it. Too big of a head for such a little body. It just didn't go well here. So in the end, I thought the story was average at best. It had some decent elements in it, but the whole thing with all the yellow rings going to all the DC superheroes, it's just over the top, and it's just not really necessary. So again, I gave this one a 2.75 out of 5 stars. So, all right. Next, we go on to number 12. And number 12 this week goes to Wonder Woman issue number 48. This is the second time in a row now where Wonder Woman is actually a one-shot issue. Last time we had an issue that had to deal with the cheetah. This time we're doing with a character, and I forgot her name. Was it Dr. I want to say it was Dr. Monroe, but I'm not sure if that's been right. But it's by this doctor, and she releases this poison in the air, and she blames the death of her parents with the Russians, and basically Wonder Woman has to go after her, and this is the doctor here, and that's it. Honestly, that's pretty much what the issue is about. However, David Finch's artwork in this book is absolutely gorgeous. I love his artwork. For me, he's gotten better with each and every issue on this. The colors and the details and even the lettering in here. It's just really well done. I'll show you one page here that comes up when she does battle against this poison doctor. And it's this page right here. It's a really nice page. And I was like, wow, that is awesome. So, the fight was pretty cool. They held her captive, but just like any, villain in a comic book, she doesn't stay captive forever. She winds up having this stash in her tooth, and it poisons everybody out, and she escapes. And there's a little bit of a cool cliffhanger that has to do with baby Zeke. Where he's not breathing or something's wrong with him. So who knows what's going to happen there. But again, it was pretty much a filler issue and nothing here that you need to read. And I feel like at this point, DC Comics is actually stalling for when it reaches those issue 50s or 51s or 52s, wherever they're going to start to renumber some of these main titles that have been around since the beginning of the New 52. So I'm pretty much thinking that that's what they're doing here. So after reading this one, I gave Wonder Woman 3 out of 5 stars. All right. So next we go on to number 11. And number 11 this week goes on to Ant-Man issue number 4. Marvel Comics still has this issue with fingerprints going onto their comics, and that's very frustrating to me, how the ink just kind of absorbs off the page, and God, it's so frustrating. But we get to see a little bit more of an issue with Scott dealing with Cassie and her going to this game in Miami. We see Scott, who actually gives her tickets to a game where she actually thought it was some kind of charity thing, and Ant-Man winds up keeping an eye on her, and that, again, that's pretty much the issue in this one. We get to see another villain come up from this hench app, and you get to see a battle that goes on in here. And really, this issue had to focus on the father-daughter aspect of things, which I did like about that. However, just getting to this point, it was kind of a throwaway. This was the point that mattered in the issue about their relationship, if it was going to mend or if it was going to go more apart. And Cassie didn't like the way, Scott was handling things. So what happens is she basically said, I don't want to see you again, period. Just stay out of my life. And then at the end of this issue, somehow we get this new giant man that's involved, and he winds up tangling himself into the San Francisco bridge. And I was just like, I'm like, that is funny. I'm like, and who is this guy? And they're like all taking like pictures of him and everything on the smartphone. So I thought that was really cool. So I thought the Cassie moments were pretty neat, the father-daughter thing. But the rest of the story for me was just throwaway. And how often are we going to see these villains come from this hench app or the lackey app and trying to defeat Scott? It's kind of a repetition at this particular point. So in the end, I gave Ant-Man issue number 4 3.25 out of 5 stars. All right. Next, we go on to number 9. And number 9 this week goes on to a series that I do like, but I think it could have been better, this opening story arc. And this is Miss Marvel issue number 3. However, by the time you get done reading this issue, it kind of sets things up in the future for Miss Marvel, and things may not be looking so good for her. So in this book, we wind up seeing her doing, battle against this Hydra group that's developing these homes, and she's been the face of it, and the neighbors of Jersey City, or the civilians of Jersey City, don't like that she stands for this change, and a lot of the people here have actually been brainwashed, and you wind up seeing Miss Marvel grow big a few times trying to defeat these Hydra agents and trying to rescue Bruno, as he's been brainwashed as well in here. The artwork is pretty good. I like the artwork, I think, better than the original series. But this whole thing that was going on in the beginning of this issue was all drawn out. The first half of the book, at least, was just Miss Marvel battling these people and trying to rescue Bruno. And then she winds up going to Michaela, which is Bruno's new girlfriend. And Bruno's been working on the side with Carmella to try to get this antidote to try to stop this whole brainwashing thing. So really what happens in the book is they come up with an antidote to stop the brainwashing of all the civilians here. They used a 3D printer to create like spray bottles and whatnot to spray everyone from being brainwashed. They have their own mist, so the civilians don't follow Hydra's lead anymore. It was really kind of over the top because they use just regular spray bottles and they're just spraying and spraying and spraying and spraying, and somehow the mist just stays in the air and everyone gets brainwashed, including Bruno. And what happens is the day winds up being saved, and in the end, though, the people are still not happy with Miss Marvel. They still blame her for everything that's happened, and they feel that maybe now she's possibly this traitor. So where does this set up Miss Marvel in the future? Who knows? But I think she's in the head of her is going to be for some dark times. So she's not going to be the person that everybody used to love anymore, and she's got to learn how to deal with those situations. And that's what's good about this series, is that she is a character that's still learning to be a superhero. And I love that character development in this series. It's just this particular story arc was just a little bit weak for me. I don't like how Hydra is involved in everything. And some development project for housing, I was like, yeah, okay, like seriously? So it was okay read for me. It was a 3.25 out of 5 stars. I'm looking forward to see where the series goes from here. All right, so now we go into number 9. And number 9 this week, guys, goes to Star Wars issue number 15. This really is kind of a filler issue, as it's between story arcs right now, between Vader Down and we get to see and the new story arc, and we get to see the from the journals of Obi-Wan Kenobi. So we get to see a story of what happened while Obi-Wan Kenobi is keeping tabs on Luke Skywalker. And you know how Luke Skywalker was always this great pilot, and you kind of get to see him do that in this issue, which is really neat. And he winds up teaming up with Biggs, which is really nice, and going and flying through Beggar's Canyon, how he said in the original Star Wars movie how he was the best in Beggar's Canyon. And it was really cool to see that. And you get to see Obi-Wan keeping tabs on Luke. The artwork, at times, I don't know, just didn't work for me. They tried to make it like almost too realistic, but Luke Skywalker had some weird, crazy chipmunk buck teeth going on. Here's another one. I was like, ooh, what is this? This guy's scaring me, you know? So we find out that he kind of crashes his ship, and his Uncle Owen is a little pissed off at him. And we get to see Obi-Wan do battle against Sand People and Jawas. And, you get to see what happened during his last stint of, little situations that happened with Jabba and the Great Drought. And, it was a cool little issue. And in the end, you wind up seeing Uncle Owen kind of telling Obi-Wan Kenobi to stay distant from Luke. He didn't want anything to do with him. He doesn't want him to be like his father. And it scares him that he has so much of his father within him. So I thought that was a pretty good issue in the end. So by the time we get done with it, we wind up seeing that the Wookiee bounty hunter winds up getting hired to do a job for Jabba the Hutt. So I thought that was pretty cool, and he has to take in Obi-Wan Kenobi. So really cool stuff, kind of an introduction to what's to come, and I liked the book. It was a really fun read. And was it the best ones ever? No, but it's going to pick up as time goes along. So Star Wars number 15 gets a 3.5 out of 5 stars. All right, next we go on to number 8, and number 8 is a new comic, or it's a comic, another independent comic this week, but held to the caliber of all the other comics out there, and this is Ronin of the Mashari Kingdom. And this book is based off of Super Mario, believe it or not. The character that you kind of see on here is like a Toad, and this is kind of like a Bowser, and this whole thing is based off of really characters from Super Mario Brothers. And this is a project raised by Kickstarter, and the artwork is absolutely gorgeous on this book. It's actually published by Epic Comics in here, as you can see on the back, which is in Central Florida as well. You get to see this Bowser creature that was hatched through eggs and ate all the other creatures except one, which was another character by the name of Yoshari. And you get to see that creature there. And they wind up doing battle against this great beast. And then you wind up seeing the rise of a new Bowser-like character that's like a samurai Bowser. And he winds up ruling all the kingdoms. And it was a really neat book. And it's really dark, and I love seeing what would happen in the future as you get to see this Bowser character in control of all these gems. And when you have possession of all these gems, you rule all the kingdoms. Now, this story was being told to the main character by the name of Toki. And within issue number 2, we're going to find out that it looks like that Toki is probably going to be coming of age to try to take on this Bowser-like character. So I thought it was really neat. And this is a 9-issue miniseries. And really well done. And I talked to JP Perez, and really nice guy, and he told me the thought process behind this book, and so this is a really great book. So I gave this one a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Again, good solid start for this independent book. All right, next we go on to number 7, and number 7 this week goes to Uncanny X-Men issue number 2. This book shows the debut of Mystique in here as she's trying to go after this company as well. She's trying to do this inside job, and things have been compromised. They kind of been onto her. The artwork was pretty good when it came to her transitioning from Mystique to human, or human to Mystique, and then you wind up seeing Psylocke and Magneto come into play here about trying to investigate what happened with this whole healer that was getting killed, and why all the other healers are being targeted within the mutant race. And so what happens is they wind up saying Sabretooth and Monet to go and to rescue Elixir before he winds up getting killed. And then within the issue, we get to see these villains come back called the I forgot what they're. The Dark Riders. Yeah, they were the Dark Riders, and they wound up setting this trap, and in the end, they wound up killing Elixir. And then and then in the next issue, it looks like they're going to have to defeat some of the other these creatures again to stop them from killing the other healer, which is Triage, I think is the next one. So this book was okay, Uncanny X-Men. My thing with this is that this team seems so isolated between all the other X-Men. And the team itself doesn't even feel connected, because we have only basically Sabretooth and Monet together, Psylocke and Magneto together. And it's just like you don't even see Archangel in the book, and Mystique is off on her own separate thing, and she's not on the team, and you get to see that inside job here. So the cohesiveness of the team lacks, I feel, and they're just so isolated away from the rest of the Marvel universe, and that just bugs me. And I want to see how they actually decided to come together to try to fight the Inhumans, or to stop the mutant population from being extinct. And you don't really get to see that. They just go on this weird miscellaneous mission, So it was a good book. It was more entertaining than the last one. Had some decent character moments. I thought the artwork was a little bit better than the last one. So I gave this one a 3.75 out of 5 stars. I just want to see some cohesiveness. Like some of the other Marvel books out there show different characters within their books. Like Wolverine, all new Wolverine with Doctor Strange, and you have even in Captain Marvel this week, you had Rocket Raccoon appear. You would think with an X-Men book you would have another X-Men in there. I guess maybe Mystique is that other X-Men that they were showing, but she has no involvement with the team. She was just kind of like separated there. So I don't know. I just don't feel a connection with the rest of the Marvel universe here. So we'll see what happens. But again, I gave that one a 3 3/4 out of 5 stars. Next is a book that just missed my top 5, and it's number 6 on this week's countdown, and it goes to Like Father, Like Daughter, issue number 6. This is the week of independent comic books, as I had a couple of them pile up, and I threw them into a lighter week this week. And this one is done by my good friend Kat Comic Uno, who has her own YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, go ahead and check it out. She does comic book reviews and TV reviews just like me. We work on Comic Frontline together as we do our podcast every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Just throwing that in there for you. And she has created her own comic book, and it's published by Short Fuse Media. And this is issue number 2, and this is another project done by Kickstarter, and this book is really well done. She actually has a character in there by the name of Cassie. Her father is known as a superhero called Invulnerable, and her father has left her when she was very young to basically be a hero, and she doesn't want really anything to do with her father as she developed powers of her own as she's become a teenager. And in this issue, you wind up getting to see her meet the supporting cast in this issue. She meets up with a character by the name of Wes, who is a superhero nerd. and he knows everything there is about his superheroes, whether it's Spider-Man, Superman. He tries to test Cassie. She's along with her friend Stephanie, and she's trying to figure out, well, with all your knowledge, is there a way that I can get rid of my superpowers because I don't want to be this hero? So throughout this, amongst this whole conversation, what happens is we have Invulnerable, who knows that his daughter is developing these powers and hires somebody to keep tabs on her. And throughout the issue, you wind up seeing that Cassie has to learn to deal with her superpowers, and her and Wes and Steph, they all become good friends and they try to help each other out. And you wind up seeing that Cassie is developing some kind of vision of things to come in the future, and things look kind of dark for her. And she kind of passes out. Wes helps her out, and she tells her friends, "Hey, meet me at my house. I saw this vision, and we need to talk about it." So this book was really good. It has good artwork. Some of the artwork is inconsistent at times. It seems to be over the top, very dramatic. Some of the body structures are a little bit off. The beginning of the book was unneeded in the beginning with Invulnerable, with a couple of guys kind of, wanting to kill him or whatnot. But overall, I think the story is really a lot of fun, and it's a good read. It's got some things in there for comic readers when it comes to Stephanie, Cassie's friend, named after Stephanie Brown, Cassie after Cassie Lang. There's Doctor Who things in there, thrown in there. So it's all in there for comic book readers, and I got to commit Kat for doing that. And so this book just misses the top 5, but I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Really good week this week for Like Father, Like Daughter. All right, so next we move forward and we go into the top 5, and number 5 this week goes to Batman issue number 48. I'm Batman, and this is the end of Mr. Bloom. I'm happy that Mr. Bloom is ending and Bunny Robo Batman is ending. It's just been too long with this one story arc, and in this issue, it was really good because you got to see Joker kind of just screwing around with Batman here, or excuse me, Bruce Wayne. And they're both have amnesia, or Bruce is coming to here. Every time you think like Joker is truly the Joker, he kind of says something where it's like, "Oh no, I just want to save the lake," or "I just want to do this," or "just calm down." And in the process of this, you wind up seeing Commissioner Gordon just being Godzilla. I guess that's what I call it, because Mr. Bloom makes himself a gigantic size. He picks up Commissioner Gordon. He holds him in his hand. He blames Commissioner Gordon for everything that he's done to this city. And because, he hired other Mr. Blooms to help him in his place, because it's someone that Commissioner Gordon put in jail each time to get revenge on him. However, again, that wasn't the part that really excited me. It was all these, Joker and Bruce Wayne moments, and you can see the suspense and the tension trying to build throughout the issue, which I thought was really nice. Again, the artwork was absolutely gorgeous. It's just a really good book, and here you get to see that Mr. Bloom he's really like a Godzilla size in there. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of it, Mr. Bloom says his speech. He's saying he had seeds throughout the city. You can get powers and this and that. And when Batman or Bruce Wayne actually sees a child put one of these seeds within herself, he witnesses a child just sitting there changing and transforming, and then just winds up blowing out. And I think that's just the tip, the straw that broke the camel's back. And with all this chaos being unleashed on the city, Miss Powers winds up releasing all the other Bunny Robo Batmans out into the city. And Alfred's watching TV. The door gets, bashed open. And Bruce Wayne says, "Take me to my cave." And so that is the beginning of Batman making his return. Now, this was a nice read. I liked half of the book. Like I said, I liked the Joker and Bruce Wayne moments. Again, the Bloom moments, they were okay, but that's not what made the book for me. The overall artwork was really nice. I was in suspense throughout the issue, but in the end, I kind of have a feeling that obviously Commissioner Gordon is not going to die. I want to see how Batman comes back. And for the people that I got a lot of comments this week about making a statement that Scott Snyder is leaving this book. He is leaving this book. He's not leaving it in this story arc. He is going to leave after this story arc, and then he's going to go and do the artwork. He's going to do the writing in Detective Comics. That was an actual article, sources from CBR. And he will be writing Detective as he has more free reign, as it won't be so event driven. He will have more free reign to write more smaller arcs and things like that. And then Greg Capullo will no longer be on this book as well. So we're going to get a new creative team going forward with this. So this is, again, all been, those are my sources from CBR. So that's where I got that information from. So, but again, they're going to finish this story arc. So I'm sorry if people did get confused thinking that Snyder was going to leave in the middle of, towards the end of this story arc. So again, in the end, 4 1/4 out of 5 stars. All right. Next, we go on to number 4. Number 4 is another book that was kind of Batman related, and this goes to Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death. In this issue, one of the things that stood out for me was the artwork. I thought the artwork was absolutely gorgeous. Love the colors in this book. Poison Ivy just looked gorgeous. She wasn't like overly sexed up or overly sexualized, but in this book you wind up seeing that she gets a second chance at being a scientist and studying plants, and she's trying to do a new lease on life. We get to see some of the Gotham Academy kids in this book, which is really nice, and we get to see Poison Ivy's new partner, and her partner's name was Louisa. And what happens is when she's doing these science experiments in front of the Gotham Academy kids, guess who makes her appearance? Yeah, Harley Quinn. And she's just all upset because her and Pamela haven't been together for a long time. They haven't had a good friendship. And so they decide to go out to a bar, and Poison Ivy explains her situation with her and how she gets this new lease on life and how Louisa's given her a second chance, and Harley thinks that she's old news and she's tossing her out the window. So what does she do? She takes it out on a bunch of people that are picking on a waitress. And so Harley is very much Harley that we've known from the past. And I thought that was really cool. However, was the moment really needed? No, not really. But this is the issue that really sets up things in the book. So by the time you get to the end of it, you wind up seeing Pamela. She winds up going home. She took home some plants that she thought would do better at home than in the actual science lab. And she talks to the plants. And the next morning, she wakes up and she sees that her plants are ginormous. They're huge. And she goes away and she calls Louisa, and she finds out when she's not answering and she goes to the office, she's passed out. Now, what happens at the end? I don't know. It makes for a very good mystery. I thought this was an awesome read, and it's just like, what happened? We were talking about it in the comments where maybe the mice became mutant mice and they killed her, but she actually turned green here. So did she experimented with the formula and wound up killing her, or is it going to make her a plant person, or is it going to make her into like Poison Ivy? Like, who knows? I'm not sure, but I thought this was a really good book and a really good introduction to the series. I wasn't going to originally pick this up, but my Frontline team members wound up telling me that Mike, you gotta try this, you gotta read this, you'll like it, and I really did. Overall around, it was a solid book. Gave it a 4 1/4 out of 5 stars. All right, Next, we go on to the top 3. And number 3 this week goes to Captain Marvel, issue number 1. I was surprised by this book. I have not read Captain Marvel in a while. I read her, the last volume where I really read her was when she was in the black costume. I really thought that was a fun series. She looked good. And when we had Marvel Now come out, I didn't like the artwork there. And I never followed it since. But since now that we got this new volume and an all new different, I thought I'd give it a chance. And this was a good jumping on point for me because I understood everything that happened. This book is actually written by Michelle Fazescas and Tara Butters. These are the writers who write Agent Carter. And this is their actually first attempt at writing a comic book. And I thought it was very well written. And the artwork here is done by Chris Anka. And as you can see, the artwork in here is a lined art. And I thought it was well done. It's not always my style of art because I think at times it lacks a little detail. But I think that the artwork was good enough, as you get to see Abigail Brand in this issue as well. So I thought the artwork was okay. Again, I like how the Marvel Universe is throwing other characters within its books, even if it's only for a panel or two, because it makes it feel like a cohesive universe. And as this universe continues to grow, okay, barring any more reboots, it just makes it feel like the universe is all together. And I like that. And I like seeing other characters interact with each other. You don't have to advertise it on the cover. You just show it every once in a while, and it's a nice surprise. And you like seeing these other character interactions, where how Uncanny X-Men does not have that. And sometimes at times where DC doesn't always do that either, or it feels forced, So in this book, though, we wind up seeing Captain Marvel in the beginning trying to stop this big asteroid from hitting planet Earth. And she winds up punching it. And so what happens is it goes and it flashes back to yesterday. And we get to see that she's on the Tri-Skeleton. She volunteers for this mission. And she feels that it will change things for her. It's a fresh new start, and she'll be up in space on the AFSS, which is Alpha Flight Space Station. And this book kind of reintroduces Alpha Flight to fans who have not seen them for a while or don't know who they actually are. And you wind up seeing Abigail Brand, who's on board, and you find out that Captain Marvel is in charge of this satellite or this space station. And you get to see her meet Puck in here and whatnot. And right away, Captain Marvel thinks that, hey, maybe, I'm going to do some battles upstairs, but she's the commander, and she doesn't really realize that it's more of a desk job. Rocket Raccoon sits there. He made a pit stop, and he's like, hey, Carol, what's up? What's going on? He's like, we're just here to, take some stuff for our missions up ahead. And she's like, yeah, so basically you're stealing stuff. And she's like, yeah, but what does the Guardians of the Galaxy need with a nuclear bomb? And he's like, oh, okay. So it's cool seeing them walk off with each other. And he's just like talking to Carol going, yeah, since when do you want a desk job? And she's like, it ain't a desk job. And then the very next panel, you see her at the desk. And she's just like, oh, God. And they're talking about a garbage treaty about how to handle the garbage within the space station. And Abigail's not too fond of Carol Danvers in there. And it was a very hilarious book. And then what happens throughout the issue is you find out that this meteor that was threatening Earth is something that's much more. It's some kind of alien ship, and you're really not sure what to think of it. And by the time you wind up getting to the end of the issue, they wind up exploring this alien ship, and it finds out that it has her star symbol on there. So excuse me. So what does that mean? Who knows? Maybe it's something from the future, or a species, or I don't know what to think, but I thought this was a really well done book. It had really good character moments in it, and reintroduced you to Alpha Flight, and it made them likable characters, especially Buck. And it was just all around good paced, well written book. And I'm definitely going to be checking out issue number 2. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right, next we go on to number 2. Number 2 goes to Deadpool issue number 6, the introduction to Deadpool 2099. And in this issue, you get introduced to Deadpool 2099. You find out who Deadpool 2099 is. And however, the only thing is that you don't know when this is going to actually continue. The colors really popped in this issue. I really liked it. It stood out. The action scenes were really nice. In this book, you find out that obviously Deadpool 2099 is a female, but it's actually Deadpool's daughter, and her mother is Deadpool's wife, which was Shikla. And you get the reveal of how Warda looks. That's her name, is Warda. And she holds her father responsible for everything that has happened to her, and how much pain she's gone through, and how much pain he's caused her mother, as well as he holds Deadpool actually captive here, and he's trying to get this information out of him, and he can't get it. She can't get it out of him. So, really interesting book. It's kind of emotional. She's in a lot of pain as you get to see her cry in the book. And I love her technology as her suit separates from her head. Where did she get this technology from? Who knows? How did she become Deadpool 2099? Who knows? How did her mother truly die? We're not sure. How did she get captive? She winds up operating with a group of people called the Bobs. Just a really well done issue. There's a mystery character at the end that is searching for Deadpool 2099, and all it says is to be continued. So, will it be continued throughout the pages of Deadpool, where there'll be an individual Deadpool 2099 series? I'm not sure. It just says to be continued. So this was a very well done book. And what I like about this is this gives Jerry Duggan a way to create a Deadpool character of his own. Yes, he still has to have some kind of traits from Deadpool because it is his daughter. However, being that it's the Deadpool 2099, he can give her guns, he can give her a suit, he can go on different missions, things like that. It's kind of her own person, and I really like that. And this is another female character that is introduced into the Marvel Universe. And at this point, I want to say between female characters and male characters right now, it seems like the female character in the Marvel Universe is becoming a dominant character. It's almost split like 50-50 at this point when it comes to female characters in the universe. And I think that's great. I mean, Marvel is becoming very diverse in its universe at this point. So in the end, I gave Deadpool 2099 a 4.75 out of 5 stars. All right. And last but not least, the book that got number 1 again for me is another independent book but published by Image Comics, and that is Tokyo Ghost issue number 5. I am letting everybody know out there that if you give the first issue and second issue a try, I'm telling you, you will get hooked on this book. The first trade comes out, I think it comes out in, I want to say in February. It was talked about in the letters column. But if you read this trade, you will like the book. It's the character development. It's awesome. It only has to do with Lead Dent here and Debbie, and it's just a nice, well done book. And we get to see our heroes who were out in Tokyo, and all hell broke loose in this actual issue. The artwork is done by Sean Murphy, which is absolutely gorgeous. We get to see one of the main characters Debbie in here, who looks phenomenal. The action scenes are good here between some of these samurais and Led Dent as they square off against each other. It's awesome. Sean Murphy does a wonderful job with this book. It is kind of a hard book to explain, but again, it does look gorgeous. And in this issue, we wind up seeing that the Tokyo leader by the name of Kasumi winds up getting killed, or she wound up getting severely injured in the last injured, but by some gang members that were going to attack Led Dent, who is this character right here. And all hell broke loose, and the samurai leader winds up being severely injured, and she winds up dying. We find out that she was part of this experiment where she held this particular concoction in her samurai blade, and she injected it into herself, and it winds up healing other humans, and it keeps things safe. And originally this concoction was made to do bad in the earth, but she kept it safe and created this whole world. And when she died, she passed it on to Debbie. And in the issue, we wind up finding out that Led Dent winds up using his drugs or whatever to get connected to all this social media stuff, and he's a constable to hold out his mission to destroy this world so corrupted Los Angeles can take over this pure Tokyo, to take all its resources. And throughout this issue, you are held with suspense as you get to see this town being destroyed, and having Debbie see her boyfriend doing this as he's hooked on these drugs. And we get to see him trying to be stopped. There was this bomb in place that was going to blow up this Tokyo, and you get to see this confrontation between the two characters. And in the end, you wind up seeing her trying to go after and stop this bomb, and then the whole place winds up blowing up. And you're not sure if she survives or not, which I think she did, because she wound up injecting herself with that potion or whatnot. And so now the land is free from all samurais to take over corrupted Los Angeles. So really interesting book. It's really in-depth book when it comes to the characters, and you get to learn about the characters in issues 2 and 3, and there's a lot of dialogue in them, but it really breaks down the characters nicely, and it makes you feel for Led Dent, and which his name is Teddy, and Debbie, and you really want their love to survive. But in the end of this story arc, it really doesn't, and we get to see he gets hooked on the thing that makes him such a powerful weapon. So again, really good book, very original book. And again, this trade comes out, I think, in February. I think you guys should check it out. And I give this all the praise in the world. Rick Remender has hit this book out of the park and teamed up with Sean Murphy. It's brilliant. So 5 out of 5 stars from me. And there's your countdown for the week, guys. So you've seen it. You've seen the worst. You've seen the best. And you've seen all that other stuff in between. So now it's your turn to put the stuff that you like the best and the stuff you like the least in the comments below. And fans, as always, thank you for watching Comic Book Corner 2.0. And this has been the Countdown, episode number 131. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care. Bye.